The training pitch that used to echo with his name now feels like a waiting room, artificial turf under pale floodlights, a solitary ball rolling into the net with a hollow thud that sounds more like an unanswered question than a goal. Gabriel Jesus has been living in those quiet spaces for months, his calendar marked more by physiotherapy appointments than matches, after a serious ACL problem forced him off the pitch and into a recovery regimen that has tested patience and purpose alike. Reports from the summer make the stakes clear. Arsenal bolstered their forward line by signing Victor Gyökeres, a move that reshapes opportunities up front and raises real questions about where Jesus will fit when he is finally fit to compete. Imagine a locker room where names on the shirts suddenly rearrange themselves while one player is still learning to jog without a limp. That is the raw tactical reality. Gyökeres' arrival was not a whisper but a headline, and for a club hungry to keep pushing at the top table, the math is simple. Form plus fitness equals minutes, and minutes build momentum. At the same time, Arsenal's other attacking options and recent signings complicate a picture that once seemed straightforward. Jesus' path back to being the regular forward is now narrower and more competitive, not because of a lack of talent, but because the squad has been reinforced. There's another twist in the plot. Gyökeres, who has been part of Arsenal's attacking rotation, recently underwent a minor surgical procedure that will keep him out for a spell, creating both short-term gaps and long-term puzzles for the manager. Injuries to teammates can open doors for returning players, yes, but paradoxically, they can also accelerate recruitment decisions. Clubs that face multiple absences sometimes act fast in the market to avoid being caught short. For Jesus, that means his recovery timeline and the shape of Arsenal's transfer strategy will collide in the most consequential weeks of the window. Off the pitch, the story becomes noisier still. In Brazil, whispers have hardened into concrete interest. Palmeiras, the club that first shaped Jesus' early years, has been linked as a potential destination should a return home become the preferred route for all parties. Media outlets and transfer channels have alternated between suggesting Palmeiras is preparing an approach and others insisting nothing official is imminent. The contradiction is typical of football gossip. But the underlying reality is that clubs in Brazil see huge value in bringing a homegrown star back. Arsenal, for their part, are said to be open to listening if a suitable offer arrives, a commercial and sporting calculation that could decide the arc of Jesus' next chapter. Yet the human side of this narrative is less tidy than transfer spreadsheets or strategic bullet points. This is a player who left Brazil to build himself into a European-level forward, who thrived on the pitch with a style that mixed grit with a grin, and who now must wrestle with doubt, rehabilitation, and the heavy private work of rebuilding confidence. Fans who have seen his goals and celebrations feel protective, executives see contracts, windows, and balance sheets. The collision of those perspectives, heartfelt and fiscal, produces tension that no manager's press conference can fully smooth over. There are multiple plausible endings. One sees Jesus return to full fitness, his first touch is rediscovering rhythm, and a determined march to reclaim a leading role. Another imagines a temporary loan back to Brazil to restore sharpness and market value. A third contemplates a permanent transfer if Palmeiras or another suitor make an offer that meets Arsenal's terms and Jesus' own wish. The nuance is that none of these paths erase the personal cost of the past months. Rehab is not only physical, it is identity work, the quiet remapping of a player's sense of self after the body has betrayed routine. Recent glimpses of progress in training suggest he is edging closer to ball work and on-field drills, milestones managers and medics mark with cautious optimism. For now, the story sits on a knife edge. A fresh signing has sharpened competition, an injury lays behind him, and the transfer window looms like a clock counting down possibilities. Will Gabriel Jesus become the comeback story that defines a season, a strategic sale that funds future signings, or a nostalgic reunion in the green and white of his boyhood club? The answer will be decided by timing, fitness, offers, and perhaps the most unpredictable ingredient of all, human will. Whatever happens, this moment will read differently in the headlines than it feels in the quiet of the rehab room. And the next decision, whether at Emirates or in Sao Paulo, could tilt an entire career.